Well, here we are again, and I tell you, what a morning. This morning, like really early this morning, I woke up like at 2 in the morning suddenly, and in a matter of a few seconds, I had gone from deep sleep to this almost acute panic, and it felt like there was an animal in the room. So eventually I regained my wits and my heart rate smoothed out, but something was still not right. It was this visceral feeling that what I'm doing, uh, if in fact I'm doing anything at all, means nothing. That I'm just wasting my time, that I should just get a job at Target and forget about it, that my life is adrift. So this is Mental Fitness Friday, and I'm Larry McInnes. And yeah, that neural backfire or dream or whatever it was really unsettling. So much so that I had a journal about it. I couldn't go back to sleep, and now I'm talking to you about it. And now, hours later, in the light of day, I know this time my life isn't adrift. Sometimes the operating system of my life isn't as obvious as it is other times. I do have a direction. And even so, sometimes forces outside of my control move me off course. And when that happens, I'll find my true north again and make the appropriate course corrections. Or I'll decide that maybe that course wasn't the correct one after all. Now, I think the reason why this feeling of adriftedness made such an impact this morning is because of that was how I lived much of my life. For years, I often didn't have goals or plans. I just went where the currents took me. If I found fortune, great. And if I went over the falls, well, I just blamed the damn currents. Adriftedness was my default setting. Now, on one level, I guess, maybe that's fine. The idea that we have control over anything is, for the most part, an illusion, because we really don't have much control over anything. And according to Viktor Frankl, the only real control that we truly have is how we respond to the events around us. So maybe being adrift is a natural state. But it's one thing to have your sailboat stuck in the doldrums and you're just not moving. It's an entirely different thing to be moved about by random currents without even pulling out a chart or checking your compass or lifting your sail. That is when your life is adrift. So you might be 20 years old, 30, 60, and you still don't have a direction. So my go-to joke was, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Well, as it turned out, that joke was turning into a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you have a joke like that too, get rid of it. Just stop. The saboteurs use stuff like that and use adriftedness to make you feel useless and scared and without purpose. So let's use some mental fitness to help you chart your course. And the first thing we need to do is identify the saboteurs who are holding you back. Now, we all have the judge, and mine was accusing me of being useless and stupid and unlovable. And not only is the judge incredibly cruel and relentless to you, but it's not alone. It's recruited accomplices, and see which one of these might be yours. We've got the controller, the hyperachiever, the restless, stickler, pleaser, hypervigilant, the avoider, the victim, and the hyperrational. Now, over the course of my life, I think my accomplice saboteurs, the victim and the avoider, worked together, avoiding classes and jobs that I thought were too difficult, and then wishing later, sometimes years later, that I would have at least attempted. And then the judge would accuse me of being scared and lazy. And I tell you, what an insanely effective method for casting one's life adrift. And if you can't figure out which accomplice saboteur might be putting holes in your boat, don't worry about it. These saboteurs are masters of invisibility. You don't have to know who's responsible. Just knowing that they're out there is enough. And if you feel something's off, that's a saboteur. And you call it out, actually yell it out, I see you. Recognize that he's there. Now, let's take a minute and do an exercise that will get you out of your head and into your body so we can get this process started. So close your eyes and take a deep breath. And take another one. And as you return to your natural breath, rub two fingertips together with such fine attention that you can feel the ridges of your fingertips. And now let's take this moment to remember the sage perspective that every situation or outcome is a gift and opportunity. So let's see if we can find yours. So with your eyes closed again, or still, look inside your body and see if you can find where this feeling of adriftedness lives. And gently consider what gift or opportunity might arise from this feeling. And what strengths do you possess that would address your adriftedness? And now we're going to use some specific SAGE tools to chart our course. And they are empathy, exploration, innovation, navigation, and activation. So, tool number one, empathy. With your eyes closed, go back in time when you were a kid. And in your mind, sit down so that you're at the same level as your child self. And you can hold your child self's hand if you want. And listen quietly. What is your child self telling you? And on to the next tool. Exploration. Oops. I don't know where that went. Not only does your child self have some surprising wisdom, but you also have experience. And without judgment, be a fascinated explorer of your personal brand of adriftedness. And look at what's going wrong, again, without judgment. But also look at what's going right. And now let's move on to the innovation. And this is where we start brainstorming. So if you have a piece of paper and a pen around, you can start writing anything. You can save this for later. But see if you can innovate new ideas that you haven't considered before. And the fun part is you don't have to do this alone. You can find a friend, a partner, a colleague to help you brainstorm. And make sure you write down the stupid ideas too, because those may be even more important than the realistic ideas. And now we're going to navigate our way and locate our true north and ask yourself, what matters here? As in, what really matters to you and why? So embrace those ideas, those relationships, the possessions, the thoughts and feelings, and the people that really matter to you. Really embrace them. And then the hard part is discard the ones that don't. And I know that can be harsh. And then finally, activation. Take clear, calm, laser focus action. What are 3 specific actions that you can take that will set you on your way? And you'll find that your life, once adrift, was actually a gift and opportunity. Now, be aware that these saboteurs will ambush you again. That's a given. And knowing that they're out there waiting for you, what can you do to preempt them before they return? What can you do to catch them in the act? And in fact, imagine right now how you'll respond when you do catch them. Now, as you set sail, remember, the operating system at the root of the mental fitness program is 1, catch yourself having a negative emotion or thought or feeling, you stop because that's a saboteur. 2, do the mental fitness exercise for 1 minute. Rub 2 fingertips together with such fine attention that you can feel the ridges of your fingertips. And 3, remember the sage perspective that every situation and outcome, even a life that's adrift, has its own gifts and opportunities. Now, you may not be able to control the waves, but you can be a damn good sailor. And whew, that was a lot. And it's all because of whatever it was this morning at 2 a.m. So if anything here struck a chord with you, put it in the chat. If you have a question or something else you want to explore, put that in the chat as well. And if you want to reach out about anything, including a brainstorming session, DM me. With that, have a great weekend, and I will see you next week at this time for more Mental Fitness Fridays. Okay, until then.